Wait. You mean to tell me that PCI Gen 5 even fully out for a full life cycle yet, and PCI 6 even get mentioned or started making yet, but they already got specs out for PCI 7? This is crazy. Let's get into this. Hi everyone, it's by Lot Tech back with some more tech news. A little bit lighter side today, nothing about video cards or GPUs or anything like that. Just some useful information or concert use if you want. But we know we just recently things start just having PCI Gen 5, both on the M.2 front and the PCI slot for the video cards. You know, they're even in the full life cycle yet, and there were some murmurs about PCI 6 being in the mix. But lo and behold, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are articles out now, including this one from videocards.net, that there's already specs released, official specs released for PCI Gen 7. How far in the future are these planning to make these PCI Gen connectors? It's crazy. And to even think that we're not even at PCI 6 yet, and PCI 7 already has specs on how much fast it's gonna be, is ridiculous. And now we're talking about specs. The PCI Gen 7 on information on this article of videocards.net is saying that it's going to be up to 512 gigabits per second transfer rate. That's insane. 512 gigabits per second. Because I believe PCI 6 is going to be 256 gigabits per second. Gigatransfers per second, not gigabits, gigatransfers per second. And now we're on PCI 5, which is half of 256. So right now PCI 5, I believe, is roughly 128 gigatransfers per second. And they already have official specs tech spec for PCI Gen 7. This is ridiculous. Like, video cards barely start having PCI Gen 5 connectors, and 6 even out yet nowhere. And they already have 7, or looking so far ahead that 7 already has hard-coded specs already. Now, it's a tech leak. I don't know how accurate this article is, but they're pretty specific with the speeds, etc., and how much could get up to with this new PCI Gen 7 information that I got from videocards.net. Now, I don't know if or how far hardware is going to get to even use that full bandwidth. We barely even cracked past PCI 4 bandwidth yet. I don't think we even exhausted PCI Gen 4 bandwidth yet, both on the M.2 front and the GPU slot front. And PCI 5 is already blazing fast. Because if PCI 4 was like 7K plus gigabits per second, and now PCI Gen 5 is now upwards of 14.5-ish range. If you're starting with the Samsung and the new Kingston one, they're around 14.3, 14.5 megabytes per second. So that's literally 14.5 or 14.3 terabytes per second. Because if it's this is crazy. If it's already, not terabytes, if it's already 14.5 or 14.3 megabytes per second, that's literally, forgive me before, I didn't mean terabytes, I mean gigabytes. So if the 9100 Samsung is running upwards of 14.3 and 14.5 megabytes per second, that's literally almost 15 gigabytes, gigabytes, however I pronounce it, per second speed that these drives are doing instructions, or writing or reading instructions. And this probably explains why a lot of them, I think Samsung managed to find a way to keep it cooler, more cool than the other ones that came up before it. But a lot of big issues that people were worried about for PCI 5, why people decided to stick with PCI 4 for now, is because PCI 5 gets really, really warm. Some of them get hotter than others, and that causes for concern, because some of them, like the cheaper ones, when they get too hot, they throttle and you don't get the full speed that you need, or that's advertised for that said NVMe drive. So now if we talk about Samsung and Kingston, for example, I think Kingston was 14.5, so just a 100 and something more than Samsung. I guess they wanted to compete with Samsung 9100 Pro, but now they're talking about PCI Gen 7. So this is on the GPU front. So if they already have specs, official specs of PCI Gen 7 for the video cards, there's no doubting that they have official specs for Gen 7 NVMe, even though we just almost finally adopting Gen 5 NVMe. So these speeds are getting out of control. When are we going to use all this damn bandwidth is what I want to know. Hey, future proofing is fine. People may want to have all this speed because of future things. Maybe it get to this point. But honestly, looking from 5 years down the road, I don't even think we'll even crack the full potential of PCI Gen 5 on the NVMe front or the PCI video card slot front. I don't think we're ever going to saturate and exhaust the bandwidth. We still haven't fully, we still haven't fully exhausted or saturated Gen 4 for the most part. That's why a lot of people go for Gen 4 even though they have a Gen 5 motherboard, because Gen 5s for the most part, especially the really good ones like the Samsung, they are very pricey. Like a 2 terabyte is roughly like just under $300. Before when it first came out, actual 2 terabyte and 9100 Pro was 300 and something. Now prices are somewhat stabilized, but there's still a lot of money for 2 terabytes and even more money for 4 terabytes, because the average 4 terabyte NVMe for Gen 5 is, majority of them across the board of all the brands, majority of them is like $550. So I was really happy to see that the Samsung one of the most popular ones and one of the most loved NVMe drives, has a history of people loving them because of their speed. They are now $100 cheaper. So when they came out, the 4 terabyte 9100 Pro, it was $550. Now it's dropped down to $450. So that's a good $100 cut. But back on topic, let me know what y'all think about this official specs already being released or made for Gen 7 PCIe. And let me know if you think this is as crazy as I think it is, because we even haven't tapped in to full Gen 4 or full Gen 5 yet. Let me know in the comments below if you think this is crazy, if you're looking forward to it getting adopted. How long down the road do you see it releasing? I'm thinking probably next 3-4 years, Gen 7 will probably be a thing. But y'all let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is Lock Tech signing out.